Tales of Frankenstein from 2018. This is a screener that was sent to me for review, so I don't have the case to read off or anything, but we got the good old handy IMDb. Based upon 4 of writer-director Donald F. Glut's short stories published in his book Tales of Frankenstein, My Creation, My Beloved, a deformed descendant of Victor Frankenstein creates the perfect man and woman. Crawler from the Grave, another Frankenstein descendant's disembodied, plague-infected arm returns from the grave for revenge. Madhouse of Death, a private detective winds up in an old dark house filled with loonies and a gorilla. And Dr. Karnstein's Creation, a mad doctor creates a monster in vampire-haunted Transylvania with gruesomely unexpected results. So it starts off first with the beginning of the wraparound story, and it has Frankenstein's creation, looking like your traditional Frankenstein monster, going through, walking, and he sees a painting of Dr. Frankenstein, and that kind of seems to jog the monster's memories, and what starts all of the flashbacks to these stories. This monster in the wraparound reminded me an awful lot of Peter Boyle in Young Frankenstein. No, that's not a bad thing. That was a cool looking monster, and he was cool looking here too. With the eyes looking more damaged in this one, which was a nice effect. Now, let's get to the shorts, right? So the first one, My Creation, My Beloved. That was a pretty cool short. Not my favorite. My favorite in this anthology are the last 2, but My Creation, My Beloved was pretty damn cool, with the doctor looking for the perfect body and brain, or perfect body to bring back his beloved wife who's dead. And this is the only short that has a little bit of nudity in it. When he's checking the bodies, he pulls the blanket down to check the tits on one of them. Pretty brief, but but yeah, so then he finally picks the body for his wife and does the transformation. Things go a little south. They don't exactly turn out the way he expected, and the very ending of that short, I'm not going to say what happens, but that was an awesome little twist that I wasn't expecting it to take, and I'm glad it went that way because it's just a nice unexpected thing, right? So that was pretty fucking funny. The next one, Crawler from the Grave. That one was probably my least favorite, but it still had its cool moments. So the dude's neighbor is jealous of a ring that he wears all the time. The neighbor is like a jewel collector, and he really wants that fucking ring. Will offer a whole bunch of money for it, and just no dice. He's never getting that ring. But then the man dies, and the neighbor then tries to buy the ring from the wife and everything, and it's just not happening. He goes to dig up the body, and that's when all the fun really begins. Again, I'm not gonna give spoilers as to exactly what happens, but like I said, it was my least favorite, but it still had some cool moments, and seeing the severed arm and shit moving around, it kind of reminded me of the Addams Family and Thing, except this one was more sinister. Um, Now we have Madhouse of Death. This one fucking cracked me up, but in a good way, not in a what the fuck type of way. This one was just fucking bonkers. It was a whole lot of fun to watch, and the gorilla suit just totally made this segment for me. It was a really good fucking monkey costume, or gorilla costume, that's for sure. It definitely looked like it cost them a pretty penny. The face was really well detailed, blended in with the human's head really well. And Dr. Mortality. Jesus Christ, man. Dr. Mortality was amazing. It's probably my favorite character out of the whole movie. Let alone does he not just have an awesome name, but his character just cracked me right the fuck up. He was awesome. And the whole island filled with nice looking ladies again. Like all the women in this movie were just drop dead gorgeous. The wardrobe people, they really nailed in the eras of when these segments were supposed to be taking place, and just a phenomenal job, wardrobe wise, makeup wise, just everything. Just gorgeous women, and that's always greatly appreciated in a horror movie. And last but not least, the final segment, Dr. Karnstein's creation. Man, Karnstein's an asshole. That's all I gotta say. But this one, I think, was my favorite segment, just for the fact that it was the most violent, and that Karnstein's an asshole, and it's always fun watching an asshole do their thing in a horror movie. Horror was made for asshole characters. Karnstein does it perfectly. He's just very belittling to his this person he forces to help him out, gathering bodies and whatnot. Just right at gunpoint, making him dig up bodies and shit for the experiments. Just a total fucking dick, and he definitely gets what's coming to him. I'm not going to say how. I'm not going to give that spoiler. It's bad enough I just said he gets what's coming to him, but it's pretty obvious it's going to happen. There is a cool hybrid monster in it, I will say that. And when the Frankenstein monster's created, they did a really nice touch that I hadn't seen before. Not that I've seen a lot of Frankenstein movies. I've only seen like the original. But once the monster rises from the electricity and whatnot, it shows the bolts in his head are glowing. So that's not something I ever remember seeing in any Frankenstein parodies or in the Frankenstein movie from before. It's just something new to me, and just that small attention to detail was greatly appreciated, because naturally if you're heating up metal and shit and it's getting zapped, it's gonna fucking glow for a little bit till it cools down. And the monster that gets created out of it, he's a mess. Big gaping cut across the forehead with thick metal stitching across it. And yeah, he's just gnarly looking. I loved the look of the monster, the viciousness of him. And this segment of the short had the most traditional feel to it, as it had all the pissed off villagers coming to get the doctor with their flaming torches and whatnot. Some were carrying crosses because they thought the doctor was a vampire. Some had fucking fire with them. and a few had guns. Not exactly sure what era or time frame that one's supposed to be taking place in, but it worked. And yeah, this review's going on a little while. The movie's nearly 2 hours long, so I wanted to make sure I talked about it enough. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, I'd already watched a really gory flick before throwing this one on, so I had my blood fix in for me already. If I had gone in as this being the first horror movie of the day, I don't know if I would have enjoyed it as much as I did, just because of the lack of bloodshed in this, but it fucking works. It's a great little movie to throw on this time of year, so close to Halloween, all the monsters and goodies and all that shit. I'm not sure where this is available to be purchased. I'd imagine it's on Amazon and other big distributors. It might be on Grindhouse. They sell a lot of off-the-wall stuff. But if I find a link to where you can purchase this before I post the video, then I'll have that in the description. If you're a fan of the old Hammer films, you gotta give this a shot. It's definitely worth it. Same with like the old Universal monster films. It just has that familiar campiness that those movies offer when you're watching them. It's just like a comfort movie, you know? You just throw it on and reminisce about the old days of horror when things were more simple, and enjoy. Like I said, like there's a smidge of CG in it, but it's not at the forefront. It's like background effects when the doctor's flipping the switch for the electricity, and you see these little bolts. They're not bolts, but like the little Tesla coils and shit. You see them sparking, and that's obviously CG. But then they also have a whole lot of colored light bulbs and shit that are glowing. That wasn't CG, so that was nice. I'm really glad they went practical for the gorilla instead of CG bullshit on that. That was much appreciated. The only other CG thing really, sorta, that I think it was more done by green screen as opposed to CG, was the severed arm in the second segment. I'm pretty sure that was all just green screen though, not really CG. So that one gets a pass. But yeah. Naturally, the bolts glowing in the monster's head in the last segment, that was CG'd, but it wasn't done poorly. Like, it wasn't done in fucking Attack of the Saber-Tooth style. It was done in a, how can we make those glow without spending a whole fuck ton of money on it? That's how. So, yeah. Tales of Frankenstein from 2018. I appreciate y'all sending the screener for me to check out, and I really hope some folks give it a shot, because it's definitely worth a watch, guys. It's fun. It's just a fun classic monster movie with 4 short tales told in the span of just under 2 hours. So they know when to end so that the stories aren't dragging on and getting boring. And yeah, they get point A, point B, point C, and on to the next. It's great. Check this fucking film out. Stay sleazy. Peace.